Today we're going to field strip or disassemble, clean, lubricate, and reassemble a Glock 43. As always, first thing we want to do is remove the magazine, lock the slide back, make sure there is no round in the chamber. On the Glock, you do need to press the trigger once you verified that it is completely unloaded. Point the gun in a safe direction, press the trigger. The trigger needs to be in the rearmost position in order to get the slide off. So now that it is, pull the slide back just slightly, and at the same time you want to grab the takedown lever on both sides at the same time, pull it down, and then push the slide off the front of the frame. Turn the slide over, compress the recoil spring and guide rod a little bit, lift it up, pull that out. Now you can remove the barrel just by pressing up on it and pulling it out. This is as far as you need to disassemble the Glock in order to clean it. You don't really need much to clean your Glock 43X. The Glock manual does instruct you to use a lubricant to clean the gun, so I would use a CLP. There's a lot of CLPs out there that's cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. I prefer to use original gun oil because I know this is safe for plastics and polymers that the Glock is made out of. It has a very low odor. You can't really smell it. It doesn't stink up the house. There's links down in the description for all of these items. You're going to need a good gun brush. I prefer one with a large and a small brush. Some cotton swabs. I love these cotton swabs that have a pointy end and a regular size end, so you can get into some of the tight spaces inside the gun, especially the slide. I use cotton patches. This is just a cut up t-shirt. This is for wiping down all the dirt and removing all the cleaner after you use it. You're going to need a bore brush to clean the inside of the bore, and the Glock does come with this bore brush, a nylon bore brush, and a rod to use. And you're also going to need some cleaning patches for the inside of the bore. Make sure you get ones that are suitable in size for the 9mm. If your Glock did not come with the cleaning brushes, you can always get one appropriately sized in any gun cleaning kit made for a 9mm, or you can buy these separately. One optional item that I use is a Poppy's Boresnake. This will save you a lot of time cleaning the inside of the bore. You can just take this Boresnake, it's got copper brushes built into it, and you just pull it through the bore a few times and it will scour dirt off of the bore and then clean it all up with the rest of this material as it goes through. So I will show you how to use that in this video as well. Okay, so first we're going to clean the barrel. Put a cleaning cloth through the rod like this. I'm going to wet this cloth with some gun oil. It doesn't have to be soaked, but we want it to get it a little bit damp. And we're just going to push this through a couple of times. We want to get the inside of the barrel nice and damp with the cleaning oil. Next you want to take your brush, run the brush back and forth through the barrel. It's going to be kind of tight, especially when the brush is new. Going to loosen up all the dirt inside. Alright, do that a couple of times. After you run the brush through there, run a few more patches through with gun oil on there, and that's going to get all that loosened dirt. And you just want to continue to do this until the patches come out clean. That way you know the inside of the bore is clean. Once it's pretty clean, you just want to run some dry patches through there to remove all the cleaner and the last bit of dirt out of there. Alright, that's pretty clean. If you want to save yourself some time, an alternate method of cleaning the barrel is using a Boresnake. I prefer the Hoppe's number 9 Boresnake Viper. It's got more copper brushes on it, and it's a little bit longer than the standard one. It does a better job. To use a Boresnake, you still want to put some oil on a patch and push it through the barrel to start loosening up the dirt. But after you do that, instead of getting out your rod and your brush, you would just get the Boresnake and feed it through the barrel. It's got built-in copper brushes which are going to scour the inside, loosen up all that dirt, and then the rest of this material is going to act like a whole bunch of patches going through, and it's going to clean up the barrel real nice. I usually put it through 2, maybe 3 times if it's really dirty, and that saves a whole lot of time. And lastly, if you're going to store the gun for a little while rather than carry it or take it right to the range, you're going to want to just put a very small amount of oil into the barrel just to coat the inside to keep it from corroding. And then when you do get to the range, you want to take a dry patch and run it through there. When you're done cleaning the inside, you just want to clean the outside of the barrel. If it's real dirty, take a brush and just clean it off. You can put a small drop of oil on the brush and just kind of brush the exterior of the barrel. Make sure you get the feed ramp right here, that should be clean. Then take one of your cotton patches and wipe the barrel nice and clean. Alright, we're done with the barrel. Next, let's move on to the slide. If your Glock is new or relatively new, you may notice some of this copper-colored substance on the slide in the slide cuts, and that is just the factory lubrication that they put on there. It's a long-term lube, and they tell you not to remove it, but if you're going to clean the gun, you're going to have to remove some of it, otherwise you can't really clean the gun. So, I'm not sure how they expect you to not remove any of that, so we're going to go ahead and just clean the slide as they say in the manual, which means we're going to get a nylon brush, put some lubricant on there, and run it across the slide cuts and in other areas of the slide. Alright, so we're just going to put a couple of drops of original gun oil on this nylon brush, and we're just going to brush right into slide cuts. Alright, and then we're going to wipe those with a cotton cloth, like that. Next thing we want to clean is the breech face. So this is the breech face right here. So we want to clean that, but we don't want to get oil down into that hole. So we're going to want to turn it upside down when we do this. So that way no oil is going to go into the hole, it's going to come out of the hole. Just going to put maybe one drop on the brush here. And holding it this way, we're going to brush that breech face. And we also want to get underneath the extractor claw right here. Make sure that's nice and clean. Right, so just clean it that way, then wipe that off with the cloth. You can use the brush and to push the rag down in there. Get that nice and clean. Okay. Alright, so that's nice and clean. Alright, now the manual instructs us to just clean the other exposed areas of the slide wherever you see any kind of a buildup. So we're just going to put a little bit of oil on there. We're going to just clean this. We don't want to get oil down into where the firing pin moves back and forth. So just use a little bit of oil here. Don't drip any in there. Just kind of spread it around a little bit with the brush. And then we're going to go in with a rag and just clean that up. It's really simple. Basically, we're just putting a little cleaner in there and then wiping it off. You can use a brush to get down into the corners pretty well. Anywhere that you can't get with the rag, you just get your cotton swabs out. Get the pointy end of your cotton swab and get down into the corners. If you do happen to get any oil down in here, you can use a cotton swab to get it out. Slide is looking good. If the outside of your slide needs cleaning, mine's pretty good. I'll just put a drop of oil on a rag, just a little tiny drop of oil, and just kind of wipe that down, get it nice and clean. Alright, that's it for the slide, looking good. Okay, now we're going to clean the frame. We're going to basically do the same thing. Take the nylon brush, just going to put one drop or two of original gun oil on the brush. Just going to lightly brush the rails here where that slides along, and any other kind of exposed metal areas here that might have gotten dirty. These parts really don't get very dirty, so just kind of wipe these a little bit with the oil. Get a clean cotton cloth, and we want to wipe them off as best we can with the hands, and then you can use the brush to push the rag down into the tight spots. It'll get underneath. It'll get down in pretty good. The bristles will push the cloth down into the little notches that you can't get to real easy. And then just go in with the cotton swabs and get in all the really tight spots that you couldn't get to. Really pretty simple and quick. Alright, we got our frame nice and clean. As far as the recoil spring and guide rod, it doesn't actually call this out in the manual as to how to clean this, but I would just take the same nylon brush and just give it a good once over. If there's a little bit of residue of lubricant on your brush, that's even better. It'll help keep things from getting corroded, as well as lube it up just a little tiny bit, and then wipe it off with the cloth. Alright, now that we've got all the pieces clean, now let's move on to lubrication. And we'll follow the user manual and we'll use original gun oil. You can use any kind of oil, any good quality gun lubricant that you have. The Glock manual calls for lubricating in just a few places. So you just want to put a couple of drops on a cloth. Just wipe down the outside of the barrel. Make sure you get the hood of the barrel, the lugs. Those are these here. Just wipe down the outside with a little bit of lube. Alright, the other place, put another drop on here. The inside of the slide, right down here where it rubs against the barrel, just want to wipe that down there. And then the opening here where the barrel slides in, just kind of get a little lube on that opening. Alright, and then one drop in each slide cut, one on that side, and one drop on that side. What I like to do is just kind of spread that out all the way up and down the slide cut, and then just a quick wipe of any excess. And one last place, right here where the trigger bar touches the disconnector. That's right in this area here. Maybe like a half a drop of oil in there. Just dab any excess, then you're good to go. And at this point you can also wipe down the outside of the slide a little bit with that one drop of oil on there. That's more to help prevent corrosion than anything else, because you don't want to make your slide slippery for you to grab onto. Alright, and that is it for lubrication for the Glock 43X. Okay, before we put the gun back together, we're going to do a quick user level inspection of the firearm. So the first thing you want to inspect is the frame. You just want to make sure there is no dirt, corrosion, visible damage. Make sure you pay attention to the trigger safety here. Make sure everything looks undamaged. Take a look at the sights. Make sure the sights are in good shape and they look like they're still centered. They're not loose. Make sure the magazine catch works. Okay, this is the firing pin safety test. So this is where the firing pin comes out to fire a cartridge. And this is the firing pin safety. So this is the firing pin lug. You want to make sure that you can move that back forward pretty easily, but when you press on it with a little bit of force toward the front of the gun, that the firing pin does not protrude out of the firing pin hole right there. So this is your firing pin safety. When the firing pin safety is not being depressed, you should not be able to press the firing pin, should not come through that hole. If you press on this firing pin safety plunger and push the firing pin forward, it should protrude. So that's how it's supposed to work. Next is the firing pin channel test. So we want to make sure the firing pin is nice and free inside the channel, which you can't really see. So if you press and hold this down, and then you shake the slide back and forth, you should be able to hear the firing pin just kind of bouncing back and forth. I'll put the microphone right in front here. So if you hear that, then you're good to go on that test. Next, we just want to examine the extractor claw, which is this right here. This is the hook that extracts your spent brass out of the chamber, and you want to just make sure that that is not damaged. Next, we want to check the ejector, which is on the frame, and it's this piece right here. This is what pushes the empty brass out of the gun after it's extracted. So just make sure it's nice and straight. Next, we want to check the slide stop. That's this right here. You want to just make sure that when you push that up and let go, that it snaps back down again. And then the last thing you want to do is inspect your magazines, especially the feed lips here. Make sure these are straight and not bent. Make sure your follower moves down easily and pops back up. Just check for any damage on the magazine. Okay, so now we're going to reassemble the Glock 43X. Simply take the slide, hold it upside down, take the barrel, place it in like this. Alright, take the recoil spring and guide rod. This end goes toward the front. It goes in this orientation. Just press it down and put it down into the notch so it ends up looking just like this. Now take the frame. You just want to line up these notches with these frame rails. So just line it up like this. Just slide onto the frame. Might be a little tight. When you get to here, make sure that the ejector does not scratch up the back of your gun. So just slow down here and get it on like this, and then put the slide all the way to the rear and then let go. And now your gun has been reassembled. You can test the slide, make sure it feels right, and now you want to do the final function and safety check. I'll put the video up here in the corner, just a few quick checks to make sure everything's working properly. If you like this video, please hit like below. Please check out the description for links to all the products that we used in this video, and thank you so much for watching.